The streets of Steelwood, the beginning. In the heart of Steelwood, one of New York's most infamous ghettos, lived a 16-year-old boy named Marcus Slim Turner. Slim had grown up knowing only the cold embrace of the streets. His mother, Carmen, worked double shifts as a diner waitress, barely scraping together enough to keep the lights on. His father had vanished before he could even utter the word dad, leaving Slim to learn survival from the concrete jungle that surrounded him. Steelwood was a place where dreams were suffocated by sirens, and ambition was often eclipsed by crime. Despite his harsh reality, Slim was no ordinary teenager. He was smart for the streets, some would say. But in a place like Steelwood, intelligence without opportunity was a cruel joke. Slim had channeled his sharp mind into leading the Iron Fangs, a gang that had quickly risen to dominate the neighborhood. Unlike other gangs, Slim's leadership wasn't built on fear alone. He had a code, and his crew respected it. "We look out for our own," he'd say. The Iron Fangs ran the local streets, controlling petty theft, graffiti, and a protection racket that Slim ensured never targeted the vulnerable single mothers like Carmen or kids trying to stay out of trouble. But Slim's dual life was a burden. At home, he was just Marcus, the son who brought Carmen groceries when her paycheck fell short. At night, he was Slim, the leader who had to make tough calls to keep his gang in line. One evening, as the city lights flickered against the cracked windows of their apartment, Carmen confronted him. "Marcus, I know you're out there doing things I won't approve of, but this isn't the life I wanted for you." Slim looked away, his jaw tightening. He loved his mother more than anything, but the streets had taught him that love wasn't enough to put food on the table. "Ma, I'm just trying to survive." "Same as you," Carmen sighed, tears welling in her eyes. "Surviving isn't living, baby. You're too smart for this. Don't let these streets take you like they took your father." That night, Slim stood on the rooftop of their building, staring at the sprawling maze of Steelwood. He felt the weight of the world pressing on his young shoulders. He had dreams of getting out, of giving his mother a better life. But every time he thought about leaving, he remembered the kids in his gang who looked up to him, who relied on him. Slim knew he was walking a tightrope, balancing his dreams with the grim reality of his environment. The streets had made him a king, but even kings could fall. As dawn broke over Steelwood, Slim resolved to find a way to escape the cycle. He didn't know how, but he promised himself that one day, he'd trade the chains of the streets for the freedom of a better life, not just for himself, but for everyone who believed in him. For now, though, the streets still called his name, and Marcus Slim Turner, the boy from Steelwood, answered. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting Steelwood. The streets buzzed with their usual hum of life. Music blaring from busted car speakers, kids yelling as they played basketball on cracked courts, and the occasional wail of sirens in the distance. For Marcus Slim Turner, this was the heartbeat of his world, a rhythm he had mastered. But tonight, the streets felt different, tense, as though the city itself was holding its breath. Slim sat on a crate outside Big Joe's corner store. His crew of Iron Fangs sprawled nearby. Malik, his right-hand man, leaned against the wall, flipping a knife in his hand. D, the youngest in the gang, was scribbling graffiti in a notebook. The rest of the crew hung back, smoking and chatting. "We got a problem, Slim," Malik said, breaking the calm. Slim raised an eyebrow. "What kind of problem?" Malik gestured toward the south side of Steelwood. "The Black Cobras. They've been moving into our territory. Hit up 2 of our spots last night. Took our cash and roughed up Rico." Slim's expression hardened. The Black Cobras were a rival gang led by Trey Viper Evans, a ruthless figure who thrived on chaos. Trey wasn't just a threat, he was a message. Steelwood wasn't big enough for 2 kings, and Trey wanted Slim to know it. "How bad is Rico?" Slim asked, busted lip, black eye. "He's mad, man. Wants to go after them right now." Slim shook his head. "Nah, we don't act on emotion. That's how you lose." He stood, his crew falling silent as he began pacing. Slim wasn't just a leader, he was a strategist. Every move he made was calculated, every step deliberate. "We need to send a message," Slim said finally, his voice calm but firm. "But not the way they expect. We'll hit them where it hurts money, find out where they stash their cash, their goods. We take that, and they'll know who runs Steelwood." Malik nodded. "I know a guy who can get us that info. Might cost though." "Pay him," Slim replied. and make it clear we're not playing games." Hours later, Slim and a few of his crew found themselves on the south side, the enemy's turf. The air was thick with tension as they moved through the shadows, their faces obscured by hoodies. They reached an abandoned warehouse, rumored to be a Black Cobra stash house. Slim signaled for his crew to move quickly, stuffing their backpacks while keeping an eye on the exits. Inside, crates of stolen goods lined the walls, everything from electronics to wads of cash. Just as they were finishing, headlights pierced the darkness outside. Tires screeched to a halt, and voices shouted, "Cops!" Dee whispered, panic in his voice. "No," Slim said, his jaw tightening. "It's them." The Black Cobras stormed in, Trey leading the charge. His tall frame loomed in the dim light, a smirk playing on his lips. "Well, well," Trey said, his voice dripping with mockery. "If it isn't Slim and his little fangs." Slim stepped forward, his face unreadable. "You're in our territory, Trey. Should have known you couldn't keep your hands to yourself." Trey laughed. "Your territory? Boy, Steelwood doesn't belong to anyone. But if you want to fight for it." He gestured to his crew. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Fists flew, crates toppled, and the air was filled with the sounds of shouting and struggle. Slim held his own, his moves precise and calculated. Malik was a whirlwind of aggression, holding off two cobras at once. In the end, the Fangs managed to escape, their backpacks full, and their pride intact. Back on their side of Steelwood, Slim gathered his crew. "This isn't over," Slim said, his voice low but determined. "Trey wants a war? We'll give him one, but on our terms." As his crew nodded in agreement, Slim's mind raced. He knew the fight with the Black Cobras wasn't just about territory, it was about survival, respect, and the kind of legacy he wanted to leave behind. Steelwood wasn't just a battleground. It was a chessboard. Slim was determined to be the one calling checkmate. To be continued.